All right, my friends. It's a new week and a new job in front of us. What's the job in front of us? Last week we talked about the Kenes HaShluchim, and the Rebbe said that our only goal and our only job and the only thing left to do is just to receive the Moshiach and do everything we can to be in tune with this wonderful world the Moshiach is going to make. Where everyone will appreciate God, everyone will appreciate the Creator, everyone will appreciate their own selves. But here he's really going into it. Here the Rebbe is really going into it. Let's just give you a summary. In the future, everyone will see in a revealed way the true existence of what a Jew is. The essence of the soul, which is one with the essence of God. Jews and God are totally one. And according to it, the way it is revealed in all the levels of these 5 levels of the soul. Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama, the Nefesh, the Tainug, Ratzon, all the powers of the soul, the pleasure, will, intellect, emotions, thought, speech, action, and even in the physical body. In all of the 248 limbs, the 365 blood vessels, you will see that the Jewish people and God are totally one. And this is going to be a big blessing for everybody because everyone will feel and be aware that there is such a thing as a creator. As it is now, no one knows that they're being created. People don't know how important they are. Right? All the other religions in the world, they sort of, denigrate people. People are like sinners, they're bad, they're ignorant, they're terrible, right? They're going to burn after. Judaism says everyone is being created by God, the creator of the universe. You just have to use yourself, use your mind, use your emotions, use your thought, speech, and action for what the creator wants. But essentially, you're very valuable. You're precious. You have tremendous potential, but it's potential. You have to bring it. And what if you make a mistake, you do bad things? In general, you just have to make a reset and say, I'm sorry, and that's it. God is infinitely forgiving. I mean, there are certain things, if you murder somebody, you can't say, murder someone and say, I'm sorry, and then the person will come back to life. It's more complicated than what I said, but generally that's the principle. There's a creator and he's creating us for free, and he just wants us to do what he wants and to feel what he wants. The truth. What's wrong with that? And that's going to be the Jewish people. The Jewish people are the representatives that this is true. It's real. It's a fact. It's a very positive, wonderful, encouraging, heartwarming, motivating fact. Positive. And that God is creating us and he loves us. But let's go. So now there we go. That's Moshiach. Ready? You do, it's known that the beginning of every month, there is a general topic, a general force, Hameshutaf HaKol HaChadashim, which is common with all of the months. Now, Judaism makes a big deal out of the months. The Jewish people, their calendar is according to the moon, and every couple of years it's readjusted according to the sun, so that the seasons come out in the proper time, because the holiday of Passover always has to come out in the spring. So if you only do months according to the moon, like the Arabs do, so sometimes one month falls out in the summer and falls out in the winter. On the other hand, if you always do according to the sun, your calendar, like the Americans or whatever that they do, so it means that it has no relation to the moon whatsoever. The beginning of the month can sometimes be a full moon or a small moon. And the Jewish holidays, they go according to the months, right? And this month and something, but it's also according to the seasons, especially Passover. So it has to be put together. But the main thing of the Jews is the month. There's a whole big thing. The first commandment in the Torah, really to all the Jewish people, is what's called sanctifying the month. Right? People would look up, they would see, as soon as they saw the first sliver of the moon, they would run to the court in Jerusalem, and they would testify the whole thing, but they had to sanctify the month. So the Jewish people go according to the month. Month has a tremendous significance to it because, first of all, the moon is always changing, and it changes from day to day, and every month it comes back to the same cycle, basically, right? That it gets full and it gets smaller. It goes sometimes the new month it can be 30 days, sometimes it's 29 days. But just basically, so that's the idea of the month. Okay, now every month has its nature. There's 12 months, and the 12 months, each one of them has its own specific nature. Basically going according to the 12 signs of the zodiac. Also have their own nature to them. And that's how the job of the Jewish people is to use nature, the creation, to serve the Creator. Who made it different? God. The thing is to not look at anything in a natural way, to look at everything from God's point of view, what He wants us to do with us. So first of all, we have to learn. We have to learn from everything in the world some message about how to serve God better. See, one of the pictures from Nachshon, Baruch Nachshon, of blessed memory. He just passed away like a month ago. Joy. It's known that in every month there is a general topic which is common for all months, like it's in the Torah and the prayer of Musaf of the day, Rosh Chadashim. It's a prayer we make in the first month, the first day of the month, called Rosh Chodesh, which this is a general prayer we say for the first day of the month. So there's one common topic. And what is this? And also that there's a common topic, which is common to all the months. And then there's an individual topic, which is relevant to each month individually. Especially the name of each month in the holidays which are in the months, etc. We can explain, right? In the month of Tishrei, there's Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur. In the month of Nisan, there's Let's explain something special about this month that we're going to be sanctifying. It happens to be this week on Friday. And this month is called Kisleve, the Jewish month of Kislev. This is the month that Chanukah, the end of the month is Chanukah. And there's a lot of Hasidic holidays also. We'll see. Being a klali, first of all, there's the general topic of Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of each month. And also the specific topic of Rosh Chodesh Kislev. That in it is the whole general topic of Rosh Chodesh, like we're going to learn it later on. Okay, so the month of Kislev is a month. It's a new month. It's a special. The whole idea that there's different months and that the moon is born anew and etc. That's an interesting thing. But also Kislev, but that's common with every month. But Kislev has its own nature. We're going to talk about that. And the main thing is Hakesher v'sheichos l'kol anal, the connection to the main point, which is in the life of every single Jew and all of the Jewish people through all the generations. The main point of Judaism is, and the main point essence of every Jew is, Kol yamei chayecha lavi l'meot Mashiach. That all of the days of your life, in other words, all of your time and all of your life, should be lahavi, to make closer liyamot Mashiach, the days of the Mashiach. That's the whole purpose of the Jewish people, to bring Mashiach. Mashiach should be here. The world should be healthy, normal. And especially in our generation, and now in our time. Like we said before, remember the Rebbe made this speech 30 years ago. Like we said before, that everything has already been done. Everything's been done. Enough Jews have done tshuva, and etc. All we have to do now is just accept the Mashiach, the Paul Mamish, actually. In simple language, it means just doing what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe says, the Rebbe is the Mashiach of every generation. Every generation has its Mashiach, and their criterion of Mashiach, the Rebbe meets the criterion. It could be other people also, but the Rebbe for sure has these criteria. And he has these until you find somebody else. As far as I know, there's no competition. There's no one else that's applying for the job, that meets the qualifications. So we just have to do what the instruction is that the Rebbe is going to give us now. Listen, what is the general topic of Rosh Chodesh? And the beginning of the month is called Rosh Chodesh. The beginning of each month is not called the beginning. It's not called Atchalat. It's not called the first day of the month. It's called the head of the month. The head of the month. And like the heart of the month or the legs of the month, the head of the month. Right? You wouldn't call them the first day of the month, the heart of the month, or the toe of the month. What's this idea of the head of the month? The Rebbe says, I'll explain it. Chodesh, month, Chodesh, the word Chodesh means in Hebrew new, to be renewed, chidush. Like it says, chidush amolad labana, because the moon becomes born anew. That after the moon went and it became less and less in the second half of the previous month, until it gets covered and concealed totally, the moon. That's in the last day of the previous month. There is no moon at all, totally black. Then the next month starts when there's this sliver of the new moon. Then Nasis Holada, then there's a birth. But Ofen is Chachus, then the moon is called new. The new moon. Like it says, it says, I noticed you because your place was empty. This is what who was it? King Saul said that King David. No, I think Jonathan, King Saul's son. He said to King David, "You have to look and see." Yes, that's what it is. He says you're going to be missing. You have to look over there and see. Anyway, what the words mean is that he's going to notice that you're not there because your place is empty. Right? King Saul made a big meal, a feast. And he said, you're going to be noticed that you're not there. I don't remember. I have to look and see if it was Jonathan that said this, King David, or King David said it to Jonathan. I think Jonathan said it to King David. Your place is going to be empty, my father. Now, King Saul, he was very jealous of David, and he wanted to kill him. He just went crazy. But on the other hand, rightfully so, because King Saul was the king, and King David was also the king, but he couldn't announce it. So King David was officially a usurper in King Saul's eyes. He was a usurper. He was going to try to take away the kingship. In any case, we've got it. It'll be missing. The by means of the missing, you've got Moshavecha, the dugma sa'olam, because it's missing. Therefore, you will be noticed. The dugmas helam, like a color, by means of the covering of the moon. When the moon is concealed, then all of a sudden, v'niv karata, then it is noticed. It's remembered. The dugmas molal levana, that the moon becomes born anew. So because the moon is lacking and it disappears, then therefore the moon renews. So this is the whole idea of the new month, the head of the month. Av shemolad lavana, even though the birth of the moon is just a little line, a little point, Hariliot Nakuda shall later, but because it is giving birth, Nichlal Bokalam Shacha, then everything is afterwards that comes in. If you're outside, like in a dark place, a totally dark place, in a forest or something, and it's the first day of the month, you see a little sliver, so it doesn't really contribute very much to dispelling the darkness. It's a tiny little sliver of light. What is it? It makes nothing. Okay, it's better than nothing, but you can't really see anything by it. But nevertheless, it's a promise. It's a promising thing. And it's the point of birth. It's like a seed. And it's included in that little point of light, the first day, everything that's going to come afterwards. Like, for instance, just like the example of a person. A person, every moment of his life is included in that first second that he's born. And it's called Rosh Chodesh, therefore it's called the beginning of the month. Bedugmas of Rosh, like the head that contains all the what's going to come afterwards. And you ever see a baby as soon as it's born? I mean, there's no personality. All the babies look the same. I mean, maybe you can see maybe a black baby or something that looks different than a white baby, but except for that, their faces are the same. You can't tell what type of a personality it is. You can't. There's no, what is it there, right? It's like a little crying thing. It's like a cat or a dog. There's basically no difference. But on the other hand, that first moment Even though there's nothing really human, you don't see anything personality over there, but that contains the whole essence of man. That day is his birthday. And that's like the moon is born. That's a Rosh Chodesh. It's the head. It has, so to speak, no personality in itself, but it contains all the potential that's going to come afterwards, especially in Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah, that's the same thing. It's the first day of the month of Tishrei, and it's the letters Reshit, the beginning of the whole year. Like it says, Bechesel Yom Chagenu, that the moon was covered over, and suddenly it becomes revealed. This is the holiday that the moon was covered over in. It's a concealment of the moon the day before Rosh Hashanah, and afterwards there becomes a birth. That's the head of the whole exact existence that comes afterwards. So this is the head of all of the year. Yisrael, and that's the whole service of the Jewish people. And the Jewish people are compared to the moon, and we count our calendar according to the moon. And we are going to be renewed like the moon. Right? The Jewish people, and it says in the beginning of the creation, when God created the world, that the moon and the sun were the same strength. And that God, for whatever reason it was, he made the moon smaller. In the future, the moon is going to come back to its original greatness. This will be the novelty of which will be in the world by means of the service of the Jewish people. Maybe we can also say that this is the whole thing of Chad Sheichem, that is your months. That the Jewish people, they make this renewal. Until the Jewish people, they become renewed. Not what they make in the world, that the Jewish people become different. What does it mean they become different? Right? They change, their potential is revealed. Just like the moon. You're the first sliver of the moon, you don't, like a baby. A baby is born, you don't know who it is, but it's a baby. There it is. Mazel tov, everybody. It's a birthday. It's a wonderful thing. But yeah, there's no personality. There's nothing there. Well, that's sort of like what the Jewish people are now in the time of exile, like a newborn baby. Even more like a fetus. And the whole novelty, the renewal of the Jewish people is that the Jewish people, their true nature, that they're a godly people, that the sons of God, that will be revealed. That by means of the service of the Jewish people, they will be elevated to a higher level than it was before they came down below. Like this will be revealed in the future redemption by means of David Malchut Moshiach, by means of King David, who is going to be the Mashiach. Remember, we learned last week that the Mashiach is going to be also King David, and Moses brought about that also Mashiach is going to have the aspect of Moshe also, that he's going to teach everyone. David Melech, that's what we say, King David is living and existing forever. There's a Gemara in Rosh Hashanah. Here we go. Rosh Hashanah. And also we say this in, there it says in Kiddush Levana. David Melech Israel is alive forever. And we can say that on Rosh Chodesh, this is revealed to each and every person. The spark of Mashiach, which is in him, this is the level of Yechida. This is the spark of Yechida Klalit. This is the highest level of the soul called Yechida. And this is also the level of the Mashiach. I think we're going to start learning about this. There's a fellow that I learned with in Germany, and we learn every day. I think there's a beautiful sikh of the Rebbe explaining this. That this is what's called the soul of the Mashiach. The inner soul of the Mashiach is the highest level of the Jewish soul called Yechida. This Nefesh is the lowest level, and Ruach and Neshama and then Chaya, and then Yechida is the highest level. When this level is revealed, Gil is a Pol Chidush, this makes a novelty in the whole existence of the world and the whole existence of every Jew. In every Jew, all of a sudden reveal this level of Yechida, then suddenly God, it's like opening up a blind person, opening up his eyes. Suddenly he sees everything that everybody was just talking about. Colors and smiles and trees and the sky, and people just talked about it. Suddenly you can see. The same thing, this level of Yechida, is we see what you just learned about before. Then everything he does becomes permeated with this seeing of godliness. Really, it's a higher level than that. But the main thing is Sha'al Yudei, by means of this, there's revealed his galos, there was revelation and the arrival of Mashiach, ba'ad kepeshuto mamash, until it actually is neshama b'guf, a physical human being, melech b'beis David, a king from the house of King David, etc. The Inyan Zeh Mudgash, this is especially stressed in the first day of Kislev. The first day of Kislev, because what is the, it's a month like every other month, but Kislev also has a special meaning to it. Kislev is the month of Kislev. The name of the month Kislev, Kes means concealed. Lo is going to be revealed. We'll say Kes, this indicates on concealment. Kisui, the chesed, like the moon is covered. Yipoked Moshavecha. The lo, and lo, to him, this is revelation. Revelation. This is the gematria of Lamed Vav 36, which that's the gematria of Eila, these. In other words, they're showing something on indication, revealing. That's what it means. V'nifkarata, you will be visited. That's the novelty of the moon. Yipoked Moshavecha means that your place where you're sitting is empty. And nifkarata means that it will be noticed. Same thing, the moon, when it becomes empty, so therefore there's a revelation. That's the Lamed Vav, that's Eila, revelation. Like it's afterwards. So what's the Rebbe saying? The Rebbe is saying that for some reason God decided that the world has to work on concealment and revelation. The whole world is a big concealment. That's how God created it. And then afterwards there can be the head and a tremendous revelation. Like Rosh Chodesh, and all the details that are in the 6 emotions of God, and etc. Each one has 6. That's 6 times 6. That's 36. That's the 36 emotional aspects of God become revealed. That's Kislev. Kis means covered, and the Lamed Vav is the emotional 36 emotional aspects of God that become revealed. That's this whole dynamic process of concealment and revelation. And even more, the whole idea of Kislev is to stress this idea of the Rosh Chodesh more than any other of the months. Because the Rosh Chodesh, the beginning of every month, is concealed, like Rosh Hashanah, etc. That means concealed. But it's written Bechesa with an Aleph. Kes Aleph, that the Aleph, the level of Aleph, this shows on the beginning of something. Aleph is the first letter. But Kislev, Lamed Vav, this is not just the beginning. This is already the emotions. 36, how God already is detailed. This is a tremendous revelation in all the details of the emotions. Which the emotions, that's the number 36. And this is especially stressed at the Rosh Chodesh Kislev, is the idea of the future redemption. It says, Atirim leitchadesh kamoto, like the Jewish people are going to be renewed like the moon. This is the future redemption that's supposed to occur any instant. If it occurs right now, it's 2,000 years late. That in Rosh Chodesh, Nisan, it indicates, Kislev, it indicates on a revelation of the future redemption, which is going to be a revelation of godliness, of truth, infinitely more than any other first month. Even higher than Keseh, like a Tishrei. But this will be a complete revelation, Kis Lamed Vav. What was covered will be revealed at the Lamed Vav. What is this? We can understand this by the holidays of the month of Kislev, and we'll talk about this more tomorrow. But what are the holidays of Kislev? First of all, the last one is Chanukah. Before that comes the holiday of Yud Kislev. And before that comes the holiday of Yud Kislev and Tet Kislev. What are those holidays? We'll talk about that more, God willing, tomorrow. Be with us. Now, Yom Yom. Divine providence, in other words, what is divine providence? A little bit misleading. Means God's individual and detailed direction and control of the world. This leads everyone to the place of his residence for the purpose of strengthening Judaism and spreading out Torah. In other words, don't think that where you are is a mistake. Wherever you are, you're there for a reason. You missed your bus, you missed your plane, you missed your this. You go to the wrong destinations, your car breaks down, something happens unexpectedly. Well, it should be that none of these things happen, but if they do, you should know that this is exactly what God wants, and he wants it not to punish you, but so that you should spread out Judaism wherever you are. Say words of Torah, be a good example, try to put tefillin on someone. When you plow and you plant, then things will grow. In other words, like Yitzchak, you come to what is plowing? You come to a land and it's all hard ground, no matter where you see, nothing grows over there except weeds. And then you start plowing the place and you grow, and all of a sudden the field is filled with wheat or whatever. You can cut the wheat and it makes bread, and bread makes people happy, and etc. It's the same thing as with wherever you are. You look and you don't see any Jews, you don't see any Judaism, that's it, start plowing and making efforts. At first, when you plow, you don't grow anything. Then you have to plant a word of Torah here, a word of Torah there, and then things will grow. Have a good day with Moshiach now. See you at 3 o'clock.